Is the system working against you? At some point, almost everyone has had this thought. You work hard, you earn money, you try to do everything right, and yet it still feels like you're falling behind. Prices keep rising, bills never stop. Saving feels harder than ever, so you start to wonder, is the system working against you, or is it just the way the world works? Because when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, something feels off. People are working more, but feeling less secure. Incomes are rising, but so are expenses. Opportunities exist, but they feel harder to reach. So, what's really going on? Let's start with something simple. The system you live in is built on growth, economic growth. Every year, economies are expected to expand. More production, more consumption, more spending. Growth is seen as success. But here's the catch. For growth to happen, money has to keep moving. People have to keep spending. And that creates pressure, because if people stop spending, the system slows down. Businesses earn less. Jobs are affected. The economy weakens. So the system is designed to encourage spending constantly. Think about your daily life. You're surrounded by ads, subscriptions, offers, discounts. Everything is designed to make you spend more. Not because someone is targeting you personally, but because the system depends on it. And that's where things start to feel uncomfortable, because your financial stability often requires the opposite: saving, spending less, being cautious. But the system rewards spending. That's the first tension. The second is inflation. Over time, money loses value, prices rise. What you could buy 10 years ago costs more today. But your income doesn't always keep up. So even if you earn more, your purchasing power may stay the same, or even decrease. That creates a silent pressure. You're moving forward, but not really progressing. And this isn't random. Inflation is part of how modern economies function. A small level of inflation is considered normal, even necessary. But over time, it changes how your money works. Saving becomes harder because the value of money decreases. Spending becomes more attractive because prices will be higher later. So the system subtly encourages spending over saving. Again, not personal, structural. Another part of the system is debt. Debt plays a huge role in modern economies. People borrow to buy homes, cars, education. Businesses borrow to grow. Governments borrow to fund spending. Debt fuels growth, but it also creates dependency. Because once you take on debt, you're committed. Monthly payments become fixed, and your financial flexibility decreases. Now think about this. If most people have debt, they need stable income to service it. That means they need to keep working consistently. So debt ties people to the system. It's not necessarily bad, but it reduces freedom because your obligations come first. Another factor is wages. Many people feel like their salaries don't go far enough, and there's a reason for that. In many cases, wages have grown slower than the cost of living. Housing, healthcare, and education increased faster. So even if your income rises, your expenses rise faster. And that gap creates pressure. You're earning more, but feeling poorer. That's not just perception, it's math. Another important piece is asset ownership. In modern economies, wealth is often built through assets: real estate, stocks, investments. These tend to grow over time, but not everyone owns them. So there's a divide. People who own assets see their wealth increase. People who rely only on income feel stuck, and that gap widens over time. So the system rewards ownership more than it rewards income. That's why many people feel left behind, even when they work hard. There's also something called the cost of stability. To live a stable life, you need certain things: housing, transportation, healthcare, insurance. These are not optional, they are required, and they're getting more expensive. So maintaining stability costs more every year, which means you need more income just to stay in the same place. That's why progress feels slow or non existent. Another factor is time. Modern life is fast. People are busy, working, managing responsibilities. That leaves less time to understand the system, less time to plan, less time to think long term. So decisions become short term, immediate needs come first, and that can make it harder to build financial security because long term strategies require time and focus. Another piece of the puzzle is financial education. Many people were never taught how money works, how investing works, how debt works, how inflation works, so they enter the system without understanding it. And when you don't understand the rules, it feels like the game is unfair because you're reacting instead of planning, and that creates frustration. Now let's address the main question again. Is the system working against you? The answer is more complex than a simple yes or no. The system isn't designed to target individuals, but it is designed in a way that creates pressure, pressure to spend, pressure to work, pressure to keep up. And those pressures can feel overwhelming, especially when everything happens at once. But here's the key idea. The system rewards certain behaviors. Spending keeps it running. Debt fuels it. Investment grows within it. Understanding it helps you navigate it. So it's not about fighting the system, it's about understanding how it works and positioning yourself within it, because once you see the patterns, things start to make more sense. You realize why saving feels harder, why expenses keep rising, why financial security feels distant. And that awareness changes your perspective. Instead of feeling controlled, you start to see the structure. And once you see the structure, you can make better decisions inside it. That doesn't mean everything becomes easy, but it becomes clearer. And clarity is power, because the system may not be working for you by default, but that doesn't mean you can't make it work better for you. And that's where real control begins. If you found this video helpful, consider subscribing for more content about money, economics, and how the system really works. And let me know in the comments, do you think the system is working against you?